Welcome everyone to this video on Access 2007, creating simple reports and conducting basic searches. To begin, we'll click on the Start button and we'll go to Microsoft Access. And you'll need to open an existing database. Now I know on this you will not be able to see it very clearly. It's just a demonstration to show you the procedure and how to do it. If you have your own database, you'll find that it will actually work pretty well. Okay, so let me begin by opening the hospital database. And you'll undoubtedly get the security warning, so just click on options and just click OK and it'll go away. Now I have two tables. The table is information about all the doctors, and if I click on that it gives me all the information about all of the doctors. And if I click on the patient table, it gives me all the information about all of the patients. Now, the databases can be huge, and so to keep this simple, I've broken the hospital database into two pieces: information about doctors, information about patients. If you're wondering what these forms are, whereas the doctor table shows all of the information about all of the doctors, the doctor form shows all of the information about one doctor at a time. Okay, and the patient form shows all the information about one patient at a time. See, there's the first patient. I click here, second patient, third patient, and so forth. Now, let's take a look at the doctor table first. The doctor table shows the doctor's first name, last name, what unit he's assigned to, what specialty he is, and his phone number, and things like that, and more information. All right, now, let's create a simple basic report that would be very helpful to the hospital. The hospital has an emergency room, and if there's somebody comes in with an eye injury, the people in the emergency room need to know what doctor is on call. So we're going to create a report to do that. So I'm going to click on the Create button, come over to Report Wizard. Don't do Report, do Report Wizard. It's much easier. Click on Report Wizard. Now, we're on the doctor table. That's the right one. And I want to know the doctor's first name, last name, and I just click the Add button. And I want to know his specialty or her specialty and what unit he or she is assigned to and the office phone number. Okay, and now I click the Next button, and it asks me to want to group it anyway, and I don't care. I'll click Next. It says you want to put in any order. Yeah, I'll put in alphabetical order by the doctor's last name. And then I'll click Next, and it says, what do you want it to look like? Well, this form here, this column, that's fine. I'll click Next, and then it says, what style do you want it to print out in? This is fine. You could choose any one of those you want to, but I'll just choose this one. And click Next. And then we need to save this before we're done. And we're going to call this Doctor List for Emergency Room Posting. Okay, and there we go, and we'll click the Finish button, and bink, there you are. There's a complete list of all the doctors in alphabetical order by their last name, and it tells what unit they're assigned to, what their specialty is, and what the phone number is. Very quick and easy report to do. Let's click Close on that. Now, I'll close out of that view there as well. Now let's go to the patient table and do a report. Click here. Double click on the patient table. Now notice we have the patient's ID number so we don't mix them up. We have the name, address, what they're in the hospital for, and what nurse they're assigned to, and what medication they're on, and what times of day they're supposed to take that medication. Now a report that would be very helpful to the hospital is the nurses need a report when they come in the morning. We want to give them a list of all their patients that are assigned to them and what medication they're supposed to give those patients and at what time of day. So let's do that. Let's create that report. So we click on the patient table and we come up to the Create button and we come over to Report Wizard. Click on Report Wizard, and again we want the patient table, and that's the one that's highlighted. If it wasn't, you click this and choose the right one, but that's the one that we want. And now we want to know the patient's ID number so we don't mix them up, their first name, last name, and I'm just clicking that Add button to move them over. And we want to know the nurse that's assigned and what medication they're supposed to take and what time of day they get it. So that just moves it over there. I don't want all the information, just some of it. So I'll click Next, and it says, do I want to group it? No. So I'll click Next. Do I want to put it in an order? Yes, I'll put it in alphabetical order by the patient's last name, so it's easy to find the patients. Next, do I want this style of report? Yep, column is fine. Next, do I want it to look like this one here? Yeah, I'm just going to choose that one, and I'll click Next. And now I want to highlight this, and I'm going to call it morning medication report. And we'll click the finish button, and bing, there you are, a complete report. When the nurses come in, we print this out, give a copy to each nurse, and they see the name of their patient, who it is, and what medication they're supposed to take, and what time of day they're supposed to take it. So that's a great kind of report. Okay, now let's do a query. Let's search the database. And I want to search the database for on the patient table. Now, we have an emergency situation in the hospital. What happened was the nurses dispensed aspirin to the patients, and it turns out we found out that the aspirin might be tainted, and it's a bad thing. We've got to get right to those patients who were given aspirin. Well, who are those people? What patients got aspirin? We can find that out very quickly by searching the patient table. So we highlight patient table. We come up to the Create button, and we come over to Query. Don't use the Query Wizard. Instead, use the Query in Design View. Click Query Design View. And I'm going to move this up here. Now, the table I want to use is the patient table. That's where the information is. So double-click on Patient Table, and it comes up over here. Now, you have to close this box or it won't go any further. Click Close. All right, now, to make this full size, click and drag down to make it full size. Okay, now, the emergency information I need the patient's ID number. I need to know their first name, their last name, what nurse was assigned, and what medication was offered. And again, all I did was point to the item and double click, and it puts it down below. Now, this is a search box. Now, the criteria right here, the criteria to search is, I'm going to click here. The criteria to search for is if the medication distributed equals, so put an equal, and type aspirin, A-S-P-R-I-N. Now, you must type exactly as it appears in the database. If you misspell it, it won't find the right people. So I'm searching for any patients in the whole hospital who were given aspirin. The medication equals aspirin. And to run the query, I click this Run button, click Run, and there is immediately the list of all the patients and ID numbers and whatever who got aspirin today. Now, I can turn that into a report very easily, and I'm going to do that by clicking on the Create button, and I'm going to create a report in the Report Wizard. And it's reminding me that I didn't save that yet, so I better save it. Do you want to save it? Yes. Click Save the Query. And I want to call that the Aspirin Error Report. And I'll click OK. And now I can create my report. And in the report, I want all of this information. Rather than clicking that one at a time, I'll click this double arrow. All the information goes in the report. I click Next. That's the style I want. I don't want to put it in any order. Next. I don't care. That's the style I want. Next. And this is the, I like that style. I'll click Next. And I click Aspirin Report, and I click Finish. And there you are. There's your report. Print it out, and the nurses run around and contact the patients, give them the right stuff. So that's it. Thank you for watching this video.